Welcome back to the Law and Crime Network. My name is Bob Bianchi. I'll be taking it from 12 to 3. We got a lot on the plate here today, and I've done everything to get myself into the city from Jersey. I've dealt with a fight that happened in the train station, a woman feeding pigeons and throwing stuff all over where I got attacked by about 1,000 pigeons, but nothing is going to stop me from being able to present these great trials. I got some awesome guests. So let's go to Segura. They're in court right now with a defense witness on the stand. Let's go to court. Okay, there you go. A defense witness, a Reconstructionist. I want to bring on as quickly as we can before we have to go to break. Graham Hetrick. He is a forensic death investigator and the Dauphin County coroner out there in Pennsylvania from 1990 until the present. He's done over 600 homicide investigations, and he is the star of the show, The Coroner. I Speak for the Dead, which was on the ID channel and is now, you can find that on Amazon Prime. Welcome, Graham, to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so I got to jump right into it. I don't know, and you see your first time on the show, so I'm really honored that you'd be here.
Well, it was interesting.
Yeah, and we have, we do a gavel to gavel here at the Law and Crime Network. Our guests, as well as the hosts, are very experienced in trial law. So the questions in the chat room, we have our great chatters. We call them the second jury. I love watching what it is that they're commenting on, and there seems to be a sensibility in here, Coroner, that the witness is testifying outside the scope of his expertise and more like a medical examiner. What are your thoughts on that? Because you do this for a living.
Well, frankly, I'm what they call a lay coroner, and I live in a hybrid medical legal situation where I work with Dr. Wayne Ross, who is a board-certified forensic pathologist. Now, I'll point out there's only about 300 of those in the United States.
Okay.
So the board certification is a
tough,
coveted thing.
Yeah.
And then there's other specialties within that. But when we testify, and especially in a reconstruction case like this, he is testifying off of that report that he received. Just like he didn't do the DNA, but he saw the DNA reports when they came back. Because a Reconstructionist is, you can determine the cause of a death, but the how, the why, whether it's homicide, suicide, accidental, that is a relationship between all those finished reports, all those finished examinations, from DNA to color analysis to all the blood pattern analysis and that sort of thing. And so he can get up and testify as to what he found in the reports and how he thought it related to the scene.
Right.
And that's what he's trying to accomplish.
So you find nothing unusual with what he's doing right now as far as testifying?
No, that would not be unusual.
Okay, guys, I don't know if we can do this in the control room at the Law and Crime Network, but being an astute observer of human nature and watching all things with great particularity, I have to tell you that the coroner is sitting with me right now with the bow tie. I knew he had the bow tie, but I didn't know that it had skull and crossbones on it. So hopefully at some point in time we'll be able to do a quick shot of that. Okay, welcome back. So that is Michael Knox, crime scene reconstructionist. I have Graham Hetrick with us, a forensic death investigator and the Dauphin County coroner since 1990. You said at a certain point in time, just before we went on air when you were listening to that. What observations are you making?
Well, I concur with his observations that you could see where this started in the bedroom area, and the gunshot wounds. There were gunshot wounds there. There was blood transfer. There was plenty of movement. She gets down the hallway, and then finally you get into the area of the foyer where actually there's indications that she was starting to bleed heavily, but was able to at one point open the door, get out, and then was brought back in, and then an enormous amount of bludgeoning occurred with something that was a longer and heavier object. So I concur with that. And with the limited amount of information I've seen, you know, and that seems to be consistent, especially when we're talking about the skull fractures, the way they were described by the medical examiner.
But you said off camera too that, and being a person that testifies as an expert for both the prosecution and the defense, so you have a very wide spectrum of knowledge. that you also do, you personally are experienced and an expert in behavioral analysis.
Correct.
And you talked about the spade and the defendant himself. Give the jury, I'm gonna say, give the audience your insights.
As I was going through the case and I saw the Dr. Was it Dela Cruz, I think it was, who is the sociologist, got the PhD in sociology, but also specialized in gangs and was a gang member himself. I thought the cross on that was rather heavy to the point of just trying to negate anything he said. And when he was talking about the spade being a symbol by the drug cartel that this meant muerte, death, you know. And just like the ace of spades, the spade was left there. And if you look at the crime scene, it's consistent with actually leaving the spade there. And I have not seen, it looks like it's a fairly new spade. And I know that in the reports I read, there was no blood on it, no DA on it.
And so that meant something to you, that there was not any forensic evidence on that. What is that?
Yes, it means that the killing was done and then the marker was put down.
Right, and if this were for $20,000 in child support, that would be an unlikely thing. This is letting people know it's gang related.
Well, I think at that point, what you have to say, if it's over $20,000 in child support and a single person is in there, we have unidentified under the nails. We have the DNA experts telling us that we have unidentified female DNA. Mm-hmm. And that relates back again to the PhD sociologist who was a gang member, and he said this is many times the modus operandi to get into the house without breaking into it. You use the woman. She goes up first, and you bust in.
Okay, and that's where she got the DNA under her fingernails. Fascinating case, folks. We're going to be covering it as we always do, gavel to gavel. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.